hungry, I know. Just a couple of quick things. Thank you, Marilyn. And if everybody will mute, unless you're actively talking to Shelly, that would be great. A few things to mention to everybody. We have an exciting program, live in-person program. That sounded odd, but an in-person program coming up at the library with a wonderful historian. She's funny. She's got a great accent. She delivers tremendous amount of information in a great package. It's Annette Isaacs. She will be there. I think it's 3 Sundays. I have 2. One is July 20th at 2 o'clock, and one is July 27th. They're both Sundays at 2 o'clock. And the first one, she's going to be talking about Beethoven. And the second one, she's going to be talking about Felix and Fanny Mendelssohn. So Annette is a wonderful lecturer, and I think it'll be a great program in person. And there's, I think, one after that. So check your newsletters. On Tuesday, July 22nd, Fern will be doing her pull up a chair so we can talk about current events as long as they're not politics and just interacting with each other. And you guys don't forget that on the 29th, Linda Levin is doing her book group. It's The Secret Life of Sunflowers. And I will be sending, we were very lucky. We've got until, I think it's next May. I've got the list. So right after Linda's book group, I'll be sending out the new list for everybody. Some of the dates may have to be a little bit flexible, but we definitely have the months and the dates. On August 3rd, I believe we'll be doing another book fair at the library. So it's a great way to support the library, and programs like this with Shelly is if you come and you buy books, and don't forget to donate them and put them in the little libraries and give them as gifts. Our library room, our book room is wonderful. So we're a little sorry we had some confusion about the 31st, but Shelly will talk to us about that and tell us what the new movie is. So Shelly, everybody is waiting to dive into food. So take it away, kiddo.
Thank you, Jackie. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you. And as Jackie just so nicely introduced, the film tonight is The Taste of Things. The Taste of Things, La Passion de Dodin Buffon is the French title. It's from 2023. It was adapted from a novel of the same name. The author's name was Marcel Ruff. And it was written back in the 20s and the 1920s. And he was a notable Swiss novelist, playwright, poet, journalist, historian, and food writer gourmand. The writer-director of the film is An Hung Tran, who was born in Vietnam and emigrated to France at the age of 12 in 1975. He was at the forefront of Vietnamese cinema for over 20 years, and then he has made some excellent French films. His first film in France was The Scent of Green Papaya, which I presented to you back in 2022. A beautiful film which was about Vietnam, looked like it was shot in Vietnam, and it was shot entirely in a studio in Paris. And it earned Tran an Academy Award nomination for Best Foreign Language Film and the French Academy Award for Best New Director. He's often, and for this film, he won Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival. The film was nominated for Best Film at Cannes, and was also France's submission for the Academy Award, and wound up winning a total of 29 international awards. He's often quoted, Tran is often quoted as saying his style of filmmaking is best expressed in the claim that art is the truth wearing a mask. Art is the truth wearing a mask. Interesting. I often say, by the way, I hope you all ate already, and you've seen the film, you'll know why. I often say that when it comes to porn, there's nothing like food porn. I think you'll agree. When you've seen the culinary marvels of mouthwatering dishes that have been prepared in this film, it is gloriously realized in a luminous period romance. But we have to realize that food and the enjoyment of it is an ephemeral experience. Great meals that we have enjoyed, that you've enjoyed, may last at most a few hours. But all that remains, and nicely so, are the memories, The taste of things presents the act of cooking and eating reverentially, making them an entry point to something more profound. And it recognizes them as deeply embedded in the human experience. Dodin is best described as a country gentleman and a gourmet, a connoisseur of the subtle and myriad pleasures of food, while Eugenie is seen first in the kitchen as Dodin's cook, but the story reveals so much more about them. From its performances to its classically sublime cinematography, this is truly the epitome of art house filmmaking. And for all you gourmands, it's probably the most delicious film you've ever seen. Maybe Babette's Feast might run a close second. Depending on how you look at it, you'll either be happy or sad that you did already eat dinner. The sequence following our first sight of Eugenie in the field leads to a classic scene that almost immediately transports us into a world with no need for dialogue or even a hint of backstory. If you notice the first 20 minutes of the film is just about wordless. When Dodin comes down and they're already busy in the kitchen. For instance, we could tell Eugenie is an experienced cook by the way she moves around the kitchen. I mean, the choreography in that scene is remarkable, how each one moves, how they don't bump into each other, and they move fluidly across the kitchen. The kitchen itself is like a character in the film. But we could also tell how she's reverential to all the ingredients she works with. By the way, she's carefully peels a piece of lettuce and handles the leaves. We're instantly aware of her abilities and her gentle disposition. When Dodin and Eugenie meet Pauline, when Pauline is introduced to them, she's Violette's niece, the kitchen helper, her young niece, for the first time. We see they are impressed by her intelligence. The looks on their faces as Dodin quizzes her, and she responds like a professional chef with over each ingredient. She has a palate to match, and yet she's only 12 years old. When Eugenie watches her eat, seeing her cooking brings Pauline almost to tears when she tastes it. We are not only at that same point, we're not only seeing Juliette Binoche, a great actress, but one who has warmed up over the years. If you've seen her performances, she's usually very tight, sometimes very cold, and here she's very warm. The cinematography is so exquisite as the camera fluidly follows the actor's every move. It is a ballet. They maneuver around and alongside each other, and how their reactions to Pauline reveals the excitement. As I said, a master artist might have recognized the potential of this young girl who might be someone they can mentor. And all this is cross-cut with Dodin and his fellow gourmands enjoying that magnificent meal that Eugenie has prepared and describing its perfection in language that feels like a religious reverie when they discuss the wines and the food. Even in the ritualistic and reverent way, they line up in the kitchen after the meal to thank her for her skill and labor. And I especially enjoyed how Tron, the director, informed the film with some of the technical innovations of the time. If you recall, Dodin goes downstairs during preparation and he has an ice maker from which, Eugenie will make ice cream. Will make the ice cream and the baked Alaska. And when she visits Pauline's parents, the farmers, and she sees those antennae stuck up around the farm, and they point out that they send electricity through the ground and it better cultivates their vegetables. These are amazing things that, really inform the period. And I have to point out the scene of the eating club eating the ortolans, those little birds. Now, they were a delicacy in France, considered a delicacy. They're little bunting birds, and they have to be cooked. If you notice the way they were cooking them, they have to be cooked in Armagnac, in an alcoholic, in a cognac, Armagnac. And did you watch how they were eating them with their heads covered? With their heads covered. Now, this was a tradition in France for many years. They had to cover their heads. It was reportedly to savor the taste without distraction, because they had to eat the whole bird and they didn't want to be seen devouring this bird. But it was also to conceal the act of eating it from God's eyes. They felt it was such an act. In the 20th century, in fact, the population of ortolans was decimated in Europe. And finally, serving them was outlawed in the European Union because they almost went extinct. But the law was taken lightly in, of all places, France, especially by the wealthy. When Dodin is invited to dine at a meal prepared by the Prince of Eurasia, as we saw, we come to see it as a grueling endurance test of multi-course decadence when the chefs are announcing what each course will be. They're practically groaning at the weight of everything coming in, which is related to Eugenie later on by Dodin's fellow gourmands, who inform her of Dodin's impression of how the Crown Prince's dinner missed nearly every mark, and how it functioned as a performative exercise in culinary indulgence. And he counters with his pot au feu. He remarks that it serves as less a vehicle for his one-upmanship than it is a reminder of the beauty of the mundane. That pot au feu, an everyday dish that has served the French, both rich and poor, through centuries, if done well, can become transcendent. And so too can an everyday emotion when felt genuinely and without artifice, which finally sets the stage for the love story that lies at the heart of this film. Built around two middle-aged people who know one another as well as they know themselves, and whose relationship is set on a foundation of mutual respect and shared history. When Dodin asked Eugenie if he might knock on her door one evening, if you remember when they're sitting outside after the first dinner, we understand he's asked this question many times. This is also true when he asks her eventually for her hand in marriage. She permits him to knock on her door, but declines his proposal. And her logic in doing so reveals Eugenie's sense of her own worth and the respect she demands of Dodin. Was she to submit to the rule of wife in 19th century France, she conjectures she might lose the autonomy to refuse Dodin's late night knock. Being his wife, there would be no knock, he would just be there. She doesn't reject his company, however, on the contrary, but rather the act of submission. The act of submission. And by way of convincing her that he wants her more as a partner, not just the wife, Dodin demonstrates it the only way he knows how. And we witness the second culinary set piece, just as delirious and delicious as the first. After all, if the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, the same would apply for a woman, especially with the likes of Dodin. Benoit Magimel and Juliette Binoche are marvelous throughout the film, but never more so than in this sequence. It's an absolutely lovely, each course he prepares and how she receives it, and how he's working his fingers to prepare where he's going to put the ring. It just soars on their chemistry. It is perhaps worth noting, by the way, that both these actors were partners for a time back in the 70s, and they both share a child. It's her only child, and his child as well. But as Eugenie savors Dodin's meal, she wordlessly conveys the wonder of a person who receives the greatest gift a person can give, that of themselves. He's giving entirely of himself, and she accepts it with the graciousness and care it well deserves. Of course, the meal ends, and following it, when Dodin opens the door, I hope you notice the image of Eugenie from the back replicates the natural beauty of the pair he served. It's a reflective shot in the film. And in the scene following in the group dining al fresco, when Dodin professes to all his love for Eugenie to his friends and their impending marriage, it is captured like a Renoir come to life. I mean, it just looks like a Renoir painting that becomes animated. The clothing, the scene, the setting. And although their bliss is short-lived, and Dodin's sadness at Eugenie's passing leaves him in a depression, he begins to mentor Pauline, and when convinced to find a new cook, rely on her when they reject one after another of the applicants until his friend brings him news and a dish to savor. And as they walk off to meet this new cook, it is impossible to describe this remarkable film's scope and effect in the last startling minutes as the camera, if you notice, the camera pans the room and we hear Dodin's and Eugenie's voices, that we realize it has become a kind of ghost story. It's almost like a ghost story at the end when we hear both of them, both heartbreaking and generous in its pure emotional truth. The film shows how time has flown, it flows inexorably forward. Eugenie and Dodin will both be forgotten and replaced one day by someone like Pauline, who herself will one day pass to nothingness. But their individual lives, though, like ours, are haunted by the tender memories of those meals, the emotions, and the love that have given them meaning, and we will remember them. The film shows us that truly powerful relationships are those that transcend labels and that are bound by shared love for one another. In this case, a shared passion. It shows viewers, it shows us that food is inextricably tied to love, to life, and to joy. And there is so much more to explore in this film. I mean, when you watch it again, and I hope you do, I mean, look at that first scene in the kitchen, and then Dodin's preparation, and the how the camera works, how the cutting works between the kitchen and the meal. It's all beautifully done. I mean, he really knows how to capture the food, let alone the preparation of it. And Juliette Binoche is wonderful. She actually worked in a top chef's kitchen for 6 months to really help prepare this food, all of these dishes. It's very interesting. Uh, and the young girl, her name is Bonnie Chagnot Revoix, is beautiful in her first film role. This was her first venture into film, and I thought she did a terrific job. But the costuming and the only music you hear is at the end of the film. But who needs music? The music is the food. The music is the performances. The music is the scenery. It all works to make this film memorable. So now I'd like to hear how you felt about it. I think this is worthy of a discussion. So who wants to go first? Who would like to talk about it first? Nancy Berger.
Nancy, don't forget to unmute yourself.
Yeah, she's
Oh, you're
trying.
trying.
Yeah, I can tell
I
she's
always love when you can
trying.
see people's faces going, I'm trying.
Yeah. Try hitting the space bar on your computer. Sometimes that works. There
Okay,
you go.
there we
There you
go.
go.
Thought this film was so exquisite that I actually recommended it to somebody who only watches stupid rom-coms. I mean, it was so magnificent. I especially loved that opening sequence as she is going from table to table to table and preparing and she just knew what she was doing at every single step of the way. And that was about 20, it was about 20 minutes worth
Yes.
of her doing this. It was in silence, wasn't it? It was, and
Basically, yeah, there were a couple of words spoken,
right,
but not
right.
much.
It was absolutely magnificent. I mean, that was fabulous. I really loved the entire film. I told my friend Susan Pauls, I said, you've got to see this film. And it's it was so I loved how they put the napkins over their heads when they were eating the little birds. And uh, and all of the details that went into this and that the director brought to us were just, they blew me away. And yes, I had already eaten. Um, so I was in good shape. But just I just adored it. And it was a little sad, but that's part of the package. It was just magnifique. One of the all-time best. Go next, Susan.
Yeah, and I failed, I loved the question at the end that he asks of her, with about marrying her, and she said, am I your cook or your wife?
Right. Hmm.
And he gives her the right answer,
Right.
but it's because the whole thing on her part was the freedom to be who she is,
Exactly.
not feel, because she becomes a wife, it's a whole different role for her.
Right. Right.
Her
No, and she
autonomy
was
goes away. Yeah.
sensational.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Pauls.
Hello.
Hi.
Nancy and I last night had an exquisite dinner, and we're
Oh,
talking a bit about this film. And we're both kind of foodies, and we appreciated the simplicity of the meal we had last night, which was just the right amount of spices, just the right amount of lemon, perfect soft shell crabs, really delicious.
Oh,
But this
perfect.
reminded me of so many other movies, particularly Delicious,
Right.
which we had talked about.
yes.
However, this one didn't deal with the politics and action adventure. It was simply a romance and the kitchen, which worked like an assembly line, like a Ford plant. Everybody had their job. There was no screaming and yelling like Gordon Ramsay. All these food things with crazy chefs. This was full of such love and care. And imagine having to wash the vegetables, you had to go and get the water from the well. Everything was so much work to make a consomme, chop all those vegetables, all the meats, all the herbs. I wanted to be in that kitchen so badly. It was just wonderful. And my thought before I watched it was, oh no, not another foodie movie. But it wasn't. It was very special. Thank you.
Oh, pleasure. It's, and the film accurately captures this period. I mean, it immerses us in this period. The conversations, even over dinner, that we saw when the men are talking about, the birth of the Ritz, Escoffier, and that they're getting together to build a hotel. It's going to ruin everything. It's going to ruin everything. But they're talking about what would become the future. And, you know, they were informed even then how they're talking about selling, one of them is selling a cow, or his cows. I mean, we really, we get into the banality of this lifestyle very well. And I think it's, you know, it just ends, it gives more texture to the film. It just was really
I
wonderful.
also thought it was remarkable the respect that the diners and the cooks had for each other.
Mhm,
Didn't seem
mhm.
to be a class difference. I don't think that's accurate, but it was lovely to see.
Yes, yes, I think so. Thank you. Marilyn.
I really loved it, and it was very French. It was done, like to me, this was like a real French movie, as far as how they respected the food and how they cooked the food, and France is known for that, and it just reaffirms it. I'm not sure where in France it was that, but I'm thinking it was in Burgundy because the wine that I knew best that they talked about was Pauline Montrachet. And so it had to be in the which would make a lot of sense. And it was really lovely. Now, two things. Number one, in the discussion where she said she didn't want to be a wife because she would not be able to lock her door, they also talked about marriage like a meal that culminated in dessert. And they said
Yes,
marriage starts with dessert and
dessert.
goes downhill after that. And I thought that was really cute.
It
And
is a
the
great
other
comment.
thing is, when I looked a little bit about Juliette Binoche, it was very interesting that this was she sort of was what's her name, Eugenie, a little bit, because Eugenie, like Juliette Binoche, did not marry. She had two partners. The first one, and I believe they had a son. So I think there was an older child that Juliette Binoche had with her first partner. And then the person she was in the play with now had Hannah, who was, I believe, her second child. But he was her partner. They were not married. And so,
Yes.
just like Eugenie, it was probably a lot of what she said about why she would not marry and why she would only want to have her independence. And I think that she lived that, like she really was able to play that role because that's who I thought she was.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 It's in a way, yes, that she definitely she takes parts that really are part of her, and that she pursues on purpose. And this is one of her great roles. This is definitely one of her memorable roles.
Beautiful lady and really beautiful actress.
Yeah,
Really
thank you.
great.
Thank you. Jean Spira.
Yes, hi, Shelly.
Hi.
Lovely to be with the group. So I just want to start by saying this movie to me was a transcendent experience. From the coloration, and I don't think I've ever seen of all the films that you've shown, one that maintains such an exquisite tone through the whole film. So tone was amazing, tone of coloration, tone of mood. Just really, really exquisite that way. And I want to say that that opening scene, I've always been in performing arts groups, in choral groups, and I liken her, how she is in the kitchen, to that of a conductor. She was conducting all her elements, all her herbs, all her ingredients into this incredible, I know it might sound trite, but a symphony that she delivers. But she performs like a conductor. The other thing I want to say is I'm a little sad because it's such a period film, and someone recently had mentioned that a book has come out called The Death of Expertise. Romanticized, of course, it's a movie, but it seems like it was such an era that was captured of of pure excellence. excellence and excellence of human conduct between all of them, at least in this household, and the excellence of the culinary art. I mean, we're into modernity now, where everything is fast, fast, fast. And I don't know if you can get that kind. I guess you can in Paris. I know people who have had $400 and $500 meals. So maybe that's the only way
Mhm.
that you experience such a thing. And the
Uh,
last point I want to make is, and then you can answer, is dessert. Marriage starts with dessert. But if you recall, he quotes St. Augustine,
mhm.
and who says that happiness is still appreciating what you have. And that's their magic.
Yes, yes, it is. Thank you. Very, very interesting. Very well said. There is certain things that happen during the film that they talk about, that they mention, as well as the thing about Escoffier. They delve into history in a way that came before. They discuss, if you remember, Juliette Binoche shows Pauline the book and the drawings where the chef's toe comes from. That, you know, the first chef that did that. Also, if you remember, I don't know how many of you know it, but there was a restaurant in New York for many years called Dodin. And it was specifically named after Dodin in the story, because
Wow.
it was taken from the original novel, the original story. Somebody, the chef who built the restaurant, took the name from the story, knowing that if people understood who Dodin was, they would understand the kind of food they would be getting at the restaurant.
Wow.
And it did survive for many years. It had people who were very familiar with it and went to it. So, Sandra Fuss, and then Larry, I see your hand. I'll get to you next.
Um, I can't praise the movie any more than everybody else has, but I did catch the smoking gun when she sat down in the chair and you knew something was going to happen.
Uh, yeah, oh, at the beginning when
Yes,
she starts
yes,
to
you
feel
you
faint.
taught us that. I caught that.
Yeah, the
But
Chekhov gun. Yeah.
pardon?
The Chekhov
The
gun.
Chekhov
Yes.
gun, and you knew that something was going to happen to her. But I, like I said before, I loved it. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Larry.
Hi, Sandy couldn't
Hi.
be with us. She chose two grandchildren on an outing as opposed to this evening.
Okay.
She loved the film a great deal, more than I did actually. I liked a lot about it. I thought it was a very good slice of life. I was a little puzzled because some of the moments were like a Vermeer painting with incredible coloration that one of your other viewers has talked about. And yet there were moments when maybe it was the print we saw where it was dark and you couldn't make out the features of some of the people in the crowd scenes. I didn't understand if that was purposeful or just the way it was, but it jarred me a bit. And from a personal point of view, while I thought it was beautiful, much like a painting, the slice of life of that life, of their life, uh, didn't wasn't important enough to me. I thought it was well made. It was a good exercise, but I would not list it as one of the films that I would go back and see parts of it again, and I wouldn't mind sitting through it again because it was so beautiful in places. But it was more to me about beauty than learning anything particular other than perhaps stereotypes of the people who were there. And while it was beautifully acted, it was not, there was missing um, suspense and an arc and things that I prefer in movies.
Oh, well, okay. You know, each as it is a subjective medium. I understand. Maybe, hopefully, on the second viewing,
Maybe.
you'll experience a little bit more. As I always say, you know, you have to see a film at least twice. So
I agree.
I hope so. I hope
I,
so.
I wanted to share it to see how it's the words to see how it sounded when I said it out loud, because Sandy has been telling me how each day after we've seen it, how much more meaningful it is to her.
Ah, interesting. Well, that's a great comment, and I hope she'll turn you into a Dodin very soon.
Okay, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll get back to you, Nancy. We have some others. I'll get back to you, I promise. Jackie and Larry.
We really enjoyed it. I thought the cinematography was phenomenal. I absolutely loved the kitchen, and I loved them. My sister often talked about the two of us in the kitchen like it was a dance, a choreographed dance, and that's exactly what I thought about them too. Somebody said earlier about the respects of them, of all of the people together, but I thought with the group, it was more of a friendship. Even though she was the cook, she really was more than
Yes.
that with them. And I thought it was really a friendship. I thought they all really cared about each other an awful lot. And it's interesting, Larry, what you just said, because look at my Larry behind me is kind of smiling. We enjoyed it, but the first thing my Larry said was,
Yeah, it seemed like we watched the same scene over and over and over, so to speak. I mean, I could see two people eating the food, but to watch seven people eat the same thing, it's like, okay, we could cut three out.
yeah, that's the first thing he said was he went, I thought some of the cooking and the actual eating scenes went on just a little bit too long. So Larry, I think that's funny. Make sure you tell her that another Larry said something similar, even though he enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
And I really liked it was the circle of life too, is that you knew, like I think Sandra was saying, you knew she was dying, you knew something was wrong, you knew she was going to die. And everything that he went through at the end, and then all of a sudden the spark of life comes back to him. And so as they're walking out of the door, it's a little Gone with the Windish, where they're going to live for another day as they walk away, but that is kind of what it was. It's like the spark of life hit him. He took Pauline and they went to find another cook. It'll never be the same, but it is in a way too. So it was interesting.
Yeah, well, I thought, that's why, when they walk off, you see that as an ending. And really the ending happens right after, when that camera just pans around that kitchen and it looks like we're going through a number of seasons as it comes back to them and brings us back to who they are, that they'll always inhabit this place. It's like they'll haunt it. They're there. And I just thought that was a beautiful way to end the film. But you're right about Eugenie was their friend. I mean, when they come back to talk about the dinner, because Dodin was fed up with it and he's upstairs sleeping or whatever he was doing. And they sit there and they say, okay, now let's have she had baked this like bread or this big brioche or whatever it was, and they're ripping it apart. And she's taking part with them and eating it. It was, it is this camaraderie. She was part of that group. Definitely. Definitely. Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Nancy, go ahead.
One quick note. I loved the kitchen. I loved all the different tables and the things that they used to put things on, and the different pots and the pans. But even the things that they set, the tables they used to set things on, it's almost as if they went garbage diving to get these tables to find the right tables, the right height. And okay, that's good. That'll work. That's got a drawer. Okay, this is this width or whatever. I noticed that the kitchen itself and all of the utensils in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's every detail. It's the
detail.
detail.
Yeah, it's the
What everything.
detail. It
That's all.
immerses us in all this detail. Absolutely.
Oh, it was great.
Absolutely.
It was
And
great.
that's why he films it. Jackie says it goes on. It does go on, but it's like you can't get enough of a good thing. I mean, and that's how they were experiencing their meal. is, okay, what's next? And the way he slices everything and dishes it out. And then we cut back to the kitchen, and Pauline is tasting the baked Alaska, and she says, where does that come from? And Eugenie is, trying to figure out, okay, I don't know, but the fact is that that they got the ice cream into the cake, and he talks about it. One of the gentlemen talks about how it stays there. It stays frozen within the baked Alaska. It was terrific with the egg. All of these things is, you remember things. Well, I've seen it quite a few times, so it's easy for me. But it'll come back to you the more you see it. Anyway, Rachel.
I loved it also. I found it to be a masterpiece of art. And cooking is art. And it is also a place where we gather and we surround ourselves, hopefully, with loved ones. It's a place of gathering. It's a camaraderie. It can be. And this is accumulated over 20 years of their relationship. And, it's like a well-oiled machine, not only in the cooking, but she had her autonomy and they had a love of the cooking. And just like cooking, sometimes you just got to be patient. You have to have it simmer so the true taste comes out. And that's how their relationship was. It was built on a love for cooking, but it expanded over time. And what I loved about it was a subtle love. It was not, and they cut all the scenes after he went in the door, when he went to her room. I loved that. We didn't have to see what happened when they were together. We knew what would happen, but it was so subtle. And that was a beautiful thing to see. The whole movie was beautiful.
Well, thank you. That's terrific. It's to add to what you said, what Susan Paul said earlier, about this is not kitchens where people are yelling and screaming at each other. That's one of the beauties of the film, is the fact of everybody's sort of kind to each other. Everybody's respectful. Isn't this the way it should be? You'd want to think that, and the result is what comes out of it. The result is the food that comes out of it. The result is the love that comes out of it. And I think that's something to consider, and, something we should learn from an earlier age. We've lost that. Thank you, Rachel. Steve Greenberg, do you have something you wanted to add?
No, I'm
Hey.
sorry I'm late. I didn't get the email on time.
Oh, did you see the film?
Not yet. I will afterwards. I wanted to catch the discussion though.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you made it. Thank you.
Me too.
Barbara Tate.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
Yes.
Now you're not.
now
Barbara,
you're
we
not.
lost you.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
have to go with Larry Lefkowitz. I didn't love it. I liked it. It was pretty. I'm a big fan of Juliette Binoche. I love good food. I didn't love it.
Oh,
I
I'm
liked it.
sorry.
I liked
All
it.
right.
But
Well,
everybody else just loved it. And I just didn't. I
Well,
found it
I-
long.
It
I
was-
kept looking at
Uh-huh.
my watch and saying, oh my God, there's more and more.
Oh, well, as I
I tried.
said, if you give it another chance, maybe you might feel a little differently.
I did love the scene with eating the ortolans. I thought that was interesting that they did that because that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I can
Eating-
imagine. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Believe me, I want to hear from everyone. And it's my feeling is, look, that's your takeaway, your initial takeaway. And like going back to the museum to look at a painting that you looked at one time and said, I don't know what everybody sees in it, and go back and look at it again, and maybe you see something else that you might enjoy about it. That's all I can offer.
I
That's all
saw
I
the
can offer.
cinematography and the pretty and the like
Yeah.
relationship that was lovely, but no, didn't move me.
Okay, okay, we'll buy that. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Okay. Well, I thank you. This was a terrific discussion. You all had something terrific to add to it. I will tell you next month, I can't tell you about yet. I have to clear it with the powers that be, but I am sending something out right as soon as we finish this. And look at the go online to look at the Friends of Stirling Library. You'll see it, and then eventually I'll send out an email for the next one as well. So I want to thank you again. I am going to now have my dinner. Yes, Rachel.
I have a question. The next one that you have, was it the lunchbox?
No. Oh, the next one we're
Yes,
doing
yes.
is
Yes, but
I'm
no.
sorry, I was thinking a month ahead. I'm sorry, Marilyn. I was thinking, no, it's not going. We couldn't get the
Right, it's
lunchbox
not on
came off.
Kanopy.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
was
on
pulled from
Kanopy.
Kanopy. And let me tell you what I had mentioned to Jackie. I did some research on Kanopy, and this is a political statement. It is the fact that what the administration is doing about pulling money away from libraries and all of these things, the libraries really pay Kanopy for the service. And now that their funds are becoming limited, they're limited on what they can afford within the library. So Kanopy is will go away from these libraries, or they limit what they'll show. Now, I also did some research that hopefully sometimes if there's a request, they can throw it back in. But in this case, it didn't happen. But be aware that these things are going on, unfortunately. And I'm trying my best to get films that will stay on Kanopy, and hopefully Kanopy will stay with us. That's the important thing. That's the important thing.
Shelley, we do have the name of the next,
Yeah, it's called Another Round. Another Round. It was the Academy Award winner back in 22, I believe. It is from Denmark. And it's a comic tragedy, a poignant statement on drinking, in Denmark, in particular in Denmark, but I think it travels well. It's about four friends, where one of them discovers a theory that the more you drink while you're working, as you raise your blood alcohol level, will make you perform better. And they're four teachers, by the way, in a high school. So it's right there. It should attract your attention. But the performances are terrific, and especially by the lead. It stars the wonderful Mads Mikkelsen, who you've seen in a few films that I've shown. And he's just terrific in this. And the film won many awards besides the Academy Award for Best International Film. So I'll look forward to having a discussion. Have a glass of wine ready when we do that film. We'll raise our blood alcohol level while we're talking. Hopefully, it'll make us perform better. So I will look.
It's a great movie.
I saw it, Larry. I finally got one.
It's
Before we
not
let
changed on the website. It's not changed on the website.
Right, that's what I was just about to
No.
say.
Yeah.
Is everybody, a couple of things. Watch the website, Also, if you're a friend of the library, if you're a friend of the Friends of the Stirling Road, you get your newsletter every week, and they are really good about putting that stuff in the newsletter. Deborah works very hard on it, Marilyn and everybody who gets them the information. But also, and if you're not getting your newsletter and you are a friend, you need to get in touch with Marilyn and let her know so that she can check into it, because she's the guru of membership and she knows all that stuff. Also, Shelly sends out an email. So if you're not getting that email from him, you need to let Shelly know, email Shelly so that he can put you on the list. So hopefully everybody's got Shelly's email address. Shelly, could you?
Yeah, I'm going to put
slide
it into
in?
the chat right now.
Okay, he'll put it in the chat, and then, make sure that you're on his mailing list, his email mailing list also, because he sends out reminders and he sends out all kinds of stuff really about what he's doing. He's very busy. He wants us all to go on cruises with him. So he sends that stuff out and he's teaching all over the place. But like I said, our newsletter that comes out every Friday is just chock full of information, and we try to keep that as updated as possible. So that's two places where you can get information about it, and just in case it hasn't been updated on the actual calendar.
Okay, it's up there. So if you take
Thank
a look
you.
at the chat, you'll find it. Thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so I will see you in 2 weeks for another round.
So everybody have a good one, and we will see you soon.
Thank you very much,
Be well.
Shelly.
Good movie
What's up,
watching.
Larry?
Thank you very much.